This is the Critical Conversations podcast, a KPOV special project developed to feature unique perspectives and the courage it takes to go there, challenge mundane thought, and question the norm.
We have Ashley, Jordan, and Kat Rose on today to talk about weather engineering or geoengineering. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi, Shanti.
Ashley and Jordan, you specifically are here because you guys started a group to bring awareness around what is geoengineering and why should we be concerned about it. And so maybe can you share a little bit about what is geoengineering?
Absolutely. I will just hop right in here. Geoengineering, also called climate engineering, aims to artificially alter Earth's climate systems using a couple different methods. One of those methods is carbon dioxide removal, which includes things like reforestation and ocean fertilization. That method is more talked about. The one that our focus lands on is called solar radiation management, or SRM for short. We're told officially that it aims to block the amount of sunlight that's reaching the Earth, and in theory, not in fact, could be used to cool the surface temperature of the planet. But this technology is really multifaceted and quite dangerous. Solar radiation management uses aircraft to disperse aerosols into the atmosphere, saturating the atmosphere with light scattering particles and electrically conductive particles. The aerosol consists of heavy metals such as aluminum, barium, strontium, and manganese, and also micropolymers. These particles are quite small and they've been nanonized, which allows them to be suspended for days and up to months on end. Once those particles are in the atmosphere, they are agitated with high-frequency energy transmissions from devices such as HAARP, and that can manipulate the particles.
Okay, you said so much, right? Just in those few sentences. And so, okay. I want to say that we know that this is actually happening because our government has said we are doing this. And I saw it a year ago on our local news where they said that our government, that they're doing this to help navigate climate change.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So in terms of what you're talking about, is this to accelerate or to prevent climate change? Do you know?
I don't think that is really well known or well spoken about. I think it can definitely be used to mask where we are currently with our climate. And whatever the intention is and who it's being used by, it's not being consented by the people. And that's really what we want to bring to light is we didn't give permission or allow this to be, conducted over our heads. And it's a conversation that needs to take place.
Yeah, from our perspective, being just avid outdoors, born and raised in Oregon and constantly being at the oceans and on the mountain, we've seen over the time of just our skies changing. Something was different from us growing up and being in science class. And I remember, I believe it was 7 types of clouds they were teaching us about. And it was a thing, building pictures of the sky with our friends and being able to explain them, but also having 4 seasons that were, somewhat understandable to the majority of the people, that we're going into a winter, a fall, or spring, or summer. And obviously, from the conversation of what we've done through the materials of this planet and what have taken to heart as a way of life has made a big impact on this planet. And we all have known and agreed about this, but we haven't really put it into practice. What are we going to do about this? And now it's too obvious that above our heads and in our skies, and we can see with our own eyes, that what all of these technologies that have been proposed seem to be being acted out above us. And for us to just see that, we just started questioning and wanted to know more about it. What is actually coming out of the back of these planes? Is there some type of material? Can we test it? And we can test it. And as we see, one of the highest, I would say, toxins in our body that you can have either tested in your hair, urine, or blood, and it's going to come out as aluminum. And these nanonized aluminum particles are not naturally occurring anywhere on the planet. They seek out proteins to bond to, and they go right into our water streams, our blood, our air, and into the plant life and everything living on the planet. So we would like to know why this is abundant on every testable point of this planet today, and that we can test it coming directly out of the back of your planes, watching them turn nozzles on and spray it off. We have the patents to even prove this, and you've shown us all of these technologies. Now we're looking for the answers of what are you actually doing and how is it affecting us, and is it making the planet better? Because over the last 100 years of one of the first historical patents that come out of this, in 1891 was a patent proposed of producing rainfall. So over 100 years of them having the technology to control weather, what have they done for us in this planet, and where are we going from here?
Yeah, it's interesting because what we're talking about are those planes in the sky that leave these trails of lines of, right? And a lot of people say, oh, that's just condensation from the plane. And not only will they say it, they will call you an idiot and belittle you if you question that narrative in any way. And what you guys are saying is that that trail of cloud, of smoke, of whatever is actually nanonized, am I saying that right? Aerosol materials,
yes.
Heavy metals, chemicals that are disrupting our natural life, whether it's within ourselves or out on the earth.
Absolutely.
And like I just said, our government has come forth and said, yes, we are doing that to control climate change. Ashley, I can tell you have a lot to say because what do you want to?
Yeah, we are. The narrative is emerging from the mainstream media. Our current administration has just announced funding for geoengineering, although they're still, painting this picture as if this technology has not been deployed.
Right.
And, decades of observing the sky, if anyone's been taking pictures or just noticing, we can see these, trails coming out of the back of the planes. And if you watch them over the course of several hours, you see them, fan out into the sky and see.
And these are the trails that don't disappear immediately because some planes have the trails that disappear within minutes.
Exactly.
And some of them have these lines of clouds that stay all day. So that's what you're talking about. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about different types of aircraft to begin with at different altitudes. I mean, we're not talking about your basic Delta Airlines that flies in and out of Redmond Airport that you see nothing coming out of the back of. We're talking about the planes that are 20, 30,000 feet higher in the sky, flying at an unknown speed that we can't even, conceive. And throughout the day, you'll start off at a nice blue morning. And if these, planes are being very active that day, within a matter of hours, you'll be in a silver haze. And this UV index is off the charts. I mean, you can definitely feel it in your eyes. If you don't have polarized glasses, it's harder to see. If you actually look up into the sky, you'll see almost an oil spill of these particles that are constantly being breathed in. But these things can be suspended in the air for so long. But so as we got really far into talking about all these details of it, we really, before we even knew any of these facts, we obviously were just questioning things. And we had some of our neighbors that the same bit, and because of us just asking them, they were very surprised because they usually get the same deal that, they're conspiracies, but they go, wow, you guys noticed as well. Why don't you check out this documentary? from an amazing man, Dane Winnington, and it's called The Dimming, and it's on YouTube, and it's a 2-hour documentary, very comprehensive, of this irrefutable evidence of what has been going on.
Yeah, he actually goes up and collects the chemicals in the sky, right? After these planes are flying.
Correct.
He's collecting the air samples.
Yes.
And testing it.
He uses 2 different Ivy League plane science testing planes, and they're using cassettes up there taking directly out of the spraying trails off of these planes. When it gets into the technology of understanding these, it's coming from somewhere, from a very large corporate industry of so much money, that these technologies aren't explained through our type of science testing. The EPA does not test for this small of a nanoparticulate. So these things are slipping past everything that we know how to test for these toxins in our environment, which is the scariest part. And when you look into this stuff, who is creating it and where is it being made? And again, nobody knows the outcome of what this is actually doing to be so detrimental to all of us. We're starting to feel it and see it in everything in our bodies. And it's now at such an irrefutable point, you can wash your blood through a plasma transfusion. And no matter what's in your life and what you've been around, radiation, mercury, there's still going to be more aluminum coming out of your body than any other toxin. And that's a giant problem that we need to focus on and ask more questions and bring light to.
Do we know what aluminum does to the body?
Yes.
We're all kind of looking at Kat because we know Kat knows. But
Well, go ahead and share, Kat, please.
Okay.
All right, I'll take the lead here. Aluminum, this particular form of aluminum is very, very small, so it actually enters the body through breathing, where it can cross the blood-brain barrier and reside in our soft tissues. Once it's in our body, it's extremely difficult to get out, and it begins to react with our cells. And that reaction can cause a lower immune function. It can lead to cancer, and it's being linked to a lot of neurological diseases as well. We're also seeing an uptick in respiratory issues too. So it really just wreaks havoc on the system, and that awareness of it allows us to at least maybe care for our bodies in a way that we can hopefully support ourselves while we figure out this bigger issue.
I wonder if over time too we'll see the bigger picture of what aluminum's doing, like how it's reacting to other metals and chemicals in the body. And what Jordan?
One more little act here. So like, because of these nanonized aluminum particles, they don't exist anywhere in nature. As this point, you can see that it has been mined, refined, and dispersed. But this problem here with this is it seeks out and it lacks electrons, so it wants to bind to any protein, and that is going to be binding to all these tissues, creating these heavy amounts of inflammation in your body. Dementia is a very big leading factor in our world with our animals, our bees, and also in our elderly. This is all linked to aluminum. That shows a big problem here with this being sprayed from these people, and it should be a war crime. I mean, this needs to be answered for if this is the causing factor of the death in our plants and the ability for our trees not to breathe and our own bodies to be breaking down. Then what are we doing here moving forward every day? What are we doing?
You know, it reminds me of the days when, what was it, DDT, that they were spraying behind trucks in neighborhoods, and kids were like swimming in this foam, and the government was like, yeah, it's safe, it's fine, and you know, you can trust it, it's okay. And then, you know, what happened to a lot of those communities and people? I mean, they went down physically, and tons of like toxic illnesses, and it's like, if we look at history, we know what's possible in life now and today. And so we know that our government has already told stuff like this before. Why wouldn't they do it again? It's just, it gotten a little more clever. It's gotten, you can't see it. It's not as obvious. And so, it's easy to like play people against each other, that divide and conquer of like, oh no, you're an idiot. Like, do you even have an education? Like that would never happen. That's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. The only way this works is with us not coming together. We have to be checked out for them to be able to have us all working towards this program and fighting each other for it. It's our choice. We have the power every day to do and create the world that we want to live in and see and be a part of. That's just the factor here. Nobody needs to feel any different from that, because there's not a different reality than that. There's just the one that you create, and it is the one we all live in. And if this is going to be the world that we want to see, then this is what we're going to have. But I'm pretty sure that everybody misses blue skies, and I know for a fact that if there wasn't money that you're worried about, that it would be clean air and water. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to just get back to the roots here a little bit and simplify what we're actually doing, because life is beautiful without all of this other. I would rather not be here talking. It's about this factor, right? But it's a problem now that we have to face together, and that's why we're really here, just to bring light to it and get more people to ask the questions: what's going on around us? What am I being a part of this? Can I do anything about this? Because everybody has the power and the voice to be able to speak up and influence somebody like I was. And that's what I'm doing here to try to bring more light, because this wouldn't be happening right now if all of us said no.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been in Bend a long time, and I started noticing this happening in Bend around 2010. And it wasn't very often, though. It was like maybe once a month. And then now it's like every day, all day long, is progressively getting worse.
Maybe
and worse.
A day or two off a week, and you'll see that, and you'll be like, wow, it looks different. And you may see a plane up there.
Wow, there's sunshine.
Yeah, there's sunshine. What is that? It's clear.
And our lovely, Central Oregon is known historically to have a lot of days of sunshine, especially in the winter.
Yeah, how many days was that they used to claim? 200?
300 days.
300.
That's what I heard.
That kind of fizzled out, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do love to use my voice to, transmute some of these darker, energies and frequencies, and just digest and process through my system, what I'm feeling, to acknowledge it, right, with my voice, with my, with the power of the word, and bring it to light through, sharing the music and sharing these ideas and facts in conversations with people. And it's a beautiful thing when we can come into that communion.
Kat's gonna play us a song that she wrote, and instead of having a break, this is going to be our song break.
This song came through after very many days of gray a few weeks ago, and I just sometimes want to fix my mood in a higher place, and I actually feel this metallicness build up in my system. Luckily, I have some tools at home that I use to sort of purify and get the metals out, but it's a very real thing for someone such as myself, who is hypersensitive biochemically and energetically. So here's a song for all you. If the chemtrails are getting you down and you haven't seen the sun for days, and you're so sick of that clamshell haze, it's time to fix your inner gaze and blast out your solar light. Let it blind that evil eye. Call them out on all their lies and be filled with the spirits of Christ. To rest in peace while still alive is to die before you die. To be impervious to strife, you gotta equalize both sides. So if the chemtrails are getting you down, have a foot bath and some Terramin clay. Embrace those biohacking ways that can cure your artificial malaise. And trust that God will land those planes one day.
Oh, Cat Rose, I love it. It was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
The brilliance of that song.
Very, very special. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are you listening? Is it getting through? I don't know. But we just had a great song, that Cat Rose, about geoengineering, and you had some tools in there, some foot baths, and what was the clay that?
Oh, it's a Terramin. It's like a red calcium bentonite clay from France. Yeah. So it's nice, to have something in your system that will soak up these metals and nanites. And there's a lot of different binders that are good at doing that, such as these, bentonite clay, chlorella, zeolite.
And that can be a daily.
Nature. Yeah, so I load up on those every day, and especially when there's heavy spraying, I'll double load up on those.
And no side effects to the clay?
The side effects are positive. Everything has an effect, the effects are good.
I will say, thanks to Kat, I am on a daily binder, and it definitely has made a huge difference in my health and my clarity and well-being. So I stand by. That. Yeah. Oh, so we don't have a whole lot of time left, but maybe with a little bit of time we do have left. What do you want to leave our listeners with? Maybe some resources that they can go to, maybe a little bit of facts, or
absolutely. As we mentioned in the beginning of the show, we've started an awareness group called Whether or Not. So you can find us on Instagram at Whether or Not, and that's WEATHER, Whether or Not Oregon. And we would love just to connect with people and really destigmatize the conversation about this topic. So feel free to share your pictures with us, and
pictures of the skies.
Yeah, pictures of the skies. You can also email us at whetherornotoregon@gmail.com. And we look forward to doing events and just getting people together and having these conversations. We would love for people to do their own research and ask those questions and continue to be curious.
I know a lot of people in town that are hip on this, well-educated, doctor, but it's so stigmatized that there's not, they're like scared to say much because of how they're attacked by people. And so I think it's great that you're starting to okay, we can come together, we can support each other. And it sounds like you guys are not wanting to shame people. You're just wanting to hey, let's have this conversation. Have you thought about this?
Absolutely.
Do you know about this as a possibility of what's happening? Yes.
And I suggest really looking up at the sky, let's all look up and watch what's happening.
Yeah.
And pay attention.
The first thing I do is when I wake up is open the blinds, and I'm just looking to see what kind of day it is. And some days are harder than others, and when I just want to be in clean blue sky, and I don't know where it is, and I go for having to put all the effort into really aligning my light and keeping my health, to combat this every day. And really, it's just getting more people to look up. When I go out there and I'm and I hear on the radio, oh, what a beautiful day in Bend it's going to be today. And I'm looking at it silver, and it's just silver, and it hurts my eyes. And I can't believe that anybody would actually believe that that's true. And every day it's the same thing. Oh, Bachelor's going to get this much this weekend. And what, 2 inches blown into a tree well? I'm not buying it anymore. And nobody can be. all winter. Every day we watch this weather, and I hear it from everybody. Oh, here, tomorrow's going to be this. And then we're here. Here's today. But we won't talk about yesterday. And it's this blind, this reset every day. But if we just look up and remember what it looked like yesterday and the day before, and from just hanging out all summer, I really was trying to bring this to light to people, just playing Frisbee in the park. And it came back around a couple times, like a few weeks later, people are like, wow, it just hasn't been, I haven't seen it sunny in 2 weeks.
And maybe we should, I don't know if we were clear that spraying these chemicals in the sky with these frequency machines, like the HARP machines, actually can impact and change the weather patterns. You guys kind of said that a little earlier, but we've kind of skipped past that a little bit.
Correct. We were getting into the details there, but of how these particles are then used by ground satellites, such as 5G towers, any satellite kind of system that produces frequency, and they're able to
they're able to agitate these particles, creating a heating or cooling, which allows wind patterns to be changed and weather systems to be steered. So anything's really possible, and it's not just as simple as they claim a blanket of dimming the sun to cool temperatures. It really becomes multifaceted.
Into chemical ice nucleation. There's different types of products that they can put at different altitudes that mix and create different patterns for high pressure, low pressure.
So different communities or different towns have different chemical mixes.
So over here in beautiful Bend, well, we have this mountainous region, right? So as you can see, maybe some days it looks like there's almost a silver haze coming off of the mountaintops, and that's when they're drawing moisture out of our mountains and actually taking that up into the jet stream, and we're not seeing any of it. And there's information here that shows how they would rather use the natural moisture off of the ground and agitate it to bring it up into the atmosphere rather than injecting more material in the form of moisture. So as we can see with this high pressure that's been off of the west coast of California now for the last 10 years, our jet stream is all being pushed to the Midwest, and we're not getting the water that we once have. Shasta is not even close to 50% full yet, and we keep hearing these over-the-top news stories of them getting all their water back in Northern California, and everything's just pushed to kind of make it look like everything's going well. But everybody living in their local communities knows that there's no water. All the reservoirs are drained. Where are the bees? Where are the bugs? Have we not seen the dwindle in our own backyards of them coming back every year? I used to collect bugs as a child. You flip a rock over, there was hundreds. You could say the same.
They used to stick to the cars when you took a trip to the valley and back.
Everywhere.
And now look at your cars.
Look at your windows when you're on a car trip. It's not as buggy. So where would be a good first place for people to go? Would it be to watch this documentary Dem, or is there a website you can send people to?
We definitely say to go to Dane Winnington's geowatch.org.
Geoengineeringwatch.org.
Geoengineeringwatch.org. Okay.
And from there, he can link you to all of the patents and information to the NOAA gag orders that they actually have a legal federal gag order on all national weather casters and all NOAA weathermen. So if you're wondering why you're not hearing about this much, why would they have a legal gag order? Well, you should be scratching your head about that. That's pretty scary right there.
Well, thank you guys for coming. And if you want to find Kat Rose Thursday night.
We'll be at the Heritage Hall, myself and my Kundalini Kirtan band, featuring Julie Southwell on the violin. And then after we play a beautiful woman performance artist named Water Eye is going to do a set. So that's from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Thursday at Heritage Hall, First Presbyterian on 9th Street.
Every third Thursday you're there.
I'm
there every
third Thursday at 6 p.m.
And then what was your website?
So we are on Instagram at Whether or Not Oregon.
You've been listening to a KPOV Critical Conversation. To hear more engaging interviews on important topics, please visit kpov.org/criticalconversations.